Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the paperback shorts. I'm going to be using my trouser pattern. You can check out my video for this pattern, and I'm going to be adjusting this pattern to make a pattern for the paperback shorts. So I've got a clean sheet of pattern paper here, and I'm going to be placing this up. I've just folded it up to the knee line because I know my shorts are not going to be longer than the knee line, and I'm going to be placing it on this plain paper. So I'll tape it down to avoid it moving about. From this waistline, not the seam allowance, I'm going to measure double the waistband. Don't forget that because we've got the waistline, so we've already got 2 inches of the waistband, so I'm going to add another 2 inches on top of this. And I'll join all these lines with my ruler. So I've got some tracing paper here, and I'm going to just trace all around on my new pattern paper. I'm tracing both the lines here and the sewing allowance because I won't be tampering with this line. So for the hip line, I'll be adding 1.5 inch to the hip line. So I'm measuring it from the original line and not the seam allowance. So that's the hip line. So I'll do the same for the crotch line and use the same measurement for the hip line and mark it there. For the waistline, I'm going to be using the original hip measurement plus 1/2 inch, so that will give me 12. So I've marked it there. The length of the shorts is going to be 1 inch above the knee level. You can have yours shorter if you want, but I'm also going to double fold it, so I'll just add 1 inch here for the folding because I'm going to fold about 3 inches upwards. So I join the line join the points with a straight line. So the next thing for me to do now is just to mark out all the points so I can join them. So that's the crotch line, that's the tie line, and I think I've finished with this pattern, so I'm going to carefully take it off. This is the front pattern anyway. So I'm going to join all these lines with a ruler because it's a paperback shirt and it's a bit bulky on the body. So from this crotch line you draw a straight line from that point to meet the length of your shorts. I'm gonna repeat the same on the other side. Waist, remember this point that you marked here, that's what you're going to use. Use a curve ruler to join it to these 2 points at least, to give it a little bit of shape. So I've got my markings which I traced out. It's not very clear, you can't see it very clearly on the camera, but I'm going to just So I'm going to use a curve ruler to draw this line from the waist to the crotch line. This is a part of the original line from our pattern, from our original pattern. I'll just use, and that's the sewing allowance. I'll just leave that in broken lines. Okay. Now finish up the end. This is a very easy pattern to do, and it's also a very easy pattern to sew. This is the front. That is the grain line. I've used a ruler to make it straight. And that's I'll just look at it. Paper bag short. Okay. Oh, I just I forgot, I need to add sewing allowance to the left and this right side. So I'll just use my ruler to do that. And the sewing allowance I'm going to add is 1/4 of an inch. Before I cut out my pattern, I'm going to be adding 1/2 an inch sewing allowance on this. I don't need to add at the bottom because I've already made allowance for that. So I'll just add at the side. Half an inch. I'm just marking out the sewing allowance. I'm using the broken lines. I'm going to keep the broken lines. So that's your paper bag shorts, the front pattern. So I'm just going to cut out the pattern now. Remember, I already added the sewing allowance to the top when I marked out the waist of 1/2 an inch. So I'll just go through the pattern once more, just a brief summary. So what I did, this is the paper bag, shorts pattern, and I use my trouser pattern. I've got a video for this. So I've added 4 inches to the waistband going up. You will notice that I only added, you saw me adding 2.5 inch. That's because when you want to add a band on either a trouser or a shorts, you deduct it from the original waist. So I've already got 2 inches there, so I only added 2.5. The other half inch is for the sewing, and the waist measurement is the hip, the original hip measurement plus half an inch, and the hip measurement, original hip measurement, I added 2.5 inches. So for those, the crotch line, I put it on the same line as the hip measurement, and I drew a straight line down to meet the length. The length, I want the shirt to be a bit longer because I want to use it for both casual and formal occasions. So what I'm going to do, is to make it 2 inches above the knee level, and I just added 1 inch, but I'm going to fold. By the time I finish folding, I'm going to make use of 4 inches, so it won't be too long and it won't be too short. You can make yours shorter if you want, and this remained the same as the original pattern. So all the adjustments were from here, from this crotch place, instead of doing it the curved way, to give, because it's going to be a wide leg, I drew a straight line to meet the length of the shirt. And you see, that's it. It's very, very basic. You don't even need your sewing, your darts or everything, because by the time you gather it, that will give it the shape. So you can see there's a bit of curve here to give it a little bit of shape. So this is the front pattern. So we'll now start to do the back pattern. So I'm just securing the back pattern. It's more or less the same as what I did with the front pattern that I'm going to do here. The first thing I'm going to do is just trace out this curved part here. I'll just use the broken lines. That's the same allowance, because I'm not going to make any changes to this side of the pattern. So I'm just tracing it out along with the sewing allowance. Twist it there and there. Okay. For the knee line, just as I did with the front pattern, I'm going to add 1 inch. From the knee line, I just add 1 inch like I've explained before. I'll be making use of 4 inches. The other 3 I can get from the pattern, because I want the short to be like 2 inches above my knee. I don't want it to be too short. So I'm going to use my ruler, straight ruler, to bring all these points, make them into a straight line. Extend it. Yeah. On this line here, I'm going to bring it down here like I did at the front. This is going to be a straight line. It's not going to curve down, because what you're making is a kind of a baggy shorts. So because it's a white, for the white leg, you need to bring it out into a straight line, just like I did at the front. For the waistline, I'm going to add 2.5 from this line, so that's 2.5. So I'm going to mark 2.5 the same way it's here. I'll join this line here, try and make it curve a bit, as we don't want any sharp edges. Okay, so the next thing is we got our hip measurement. The original hip measurement for the back, what I've got here is 13. So that's my marking for the waist, which because I'm using the hip measurements, and I've added 1/2 inch like I did at the front. So I'm going to join this point here to these 2 points using a curve ruler. And then draw a straight line down. I think I've finished with this pattern, so I can take off the pattern. This is the back. You're dealing with white legged shorts, so I'm going to draw a straight line from this point to the length of the shorts. Try and even out this. And just like that, the top back. Paper bag shorts. So I'm going to add a half an inch allowance all around it, the sides, this side. I've already got the waist, the bottom and the side there. So once we're finished, I can now start cutting it out. For the pockets, I've got this sheet of paper that is 7 by 11. So I'm going to fold it into 2 parts, 2 equal parts. And then fold it again into 2. So that I've made a crease line. So what I'm going to do is get my ruler and this crease line, draw a curve from one crease line to the other. So draw a curve from one crease line to the other. And then cut along this crease line. And this is going to be my pockets. Pockets. Do that times 4. So I'm just going to notch. So these are our pattern, that's our front, and we'll need to cut this twice. That's our back, we need to cut this twice. In our pocket, we need to cut this 4 times. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please click the like button, you can share and also subscribe.